Very grateful to the management here that they've allowed me to speak and share some things from a very beautiful compilation by a great acharya named Lakshman Acharya called Naam Ramayana. I'll explain what Naam Ramayana is. For a lot of people, they don't even know what Naam Ramayana is. So I'll give you a little context of what Naam Ramayana is, and then I will go into deep details of it. Naam Ramayana is a poem which is 108 verses long. And in 108 verses, it covers the entire Valmiki Ramayana. So practically in 108 verses, you can experience the entire story of Ramayana in it. And the beauty of this composition is that every verse is just one sentence long. We're going to recite many of the verses. But each sentence, each verse is one name of Ram. So practically it is 108 names of Ram. And in 108 names, we're covering 108 stories of Ram. And through 108 stories, the idea is to learn 108 qualities of Ram. So when we hear this whole mood of Nama, Rupa, Guna, Leela, in this one composition, you'll experience all of it. So as I'm going to be sharing with you all Naam Ramayana, I'm going to be sharing with you all the names of Ram. And as you hear the names of Ram and we all chant the names of Ram, I'm also going to be showing over here some form of Ram which is connected to that name to some extent. So you will see Rupa also. And while we are narrating the name, I'm also be going to tell you all a story. So you will see the Leela also. And after I tell you all the story, I'm going to help you all meditate on one of the qualities of Lord Ram. So we'll see the Guna also. So that's the way in which this entire Naam Ramayana is. So it is a very beautiful compilation and it's very poetic. So what we will do is, as I am going to be reciting the Naam Ramayana, we'll just take verse by verse. So we'll recite one verse and I'll recite it first. And then after that, you all can recite it. And then after that, I'll speak on it. And then I'll go to the next verse like that. So we'll go, I'm not going to go sequentially here. I'm going to pick and choose some of the key verses. So it'll be pretty random in nature. But when you are going through the Naam Ramayana yourself, all of you all can go through it yourself. There are YouTube videos of M.S. Subbalakshmi singing the Naam Ramayana also. You can hear it. So as we're doing the next 3-4 days that we're going to be together hearing Naam Ramayana, my suggestion to you all would be at home, you all can hear the entire Naam Ramayana narration, and then you will really understand how sweet it is and how beautiful it is. Okay. So the Naam Ramayana is in a sequence, in a sequential order. So we're starting with Balakanda of the Naam Ramayana. So just like Ramayana has these 7 kands, so similarly Naam Ramayana also is divided into the same 7 kands. So technically, if you recite that section of Naam Ramayana of Balakanda, for example, you're actually reciting the entire Balakanda of Valmiki Ramayana. That is how it is, the benefit you get. So obviously now, 24,000 verses of Valmiki Ramayana, I don't know whether we'll ever be able to chant completely. But if you chant these 108 verses, it's equivalent of those 24,000 verses of Valmiki Ramayana. So having given you all that background, also one very important factor is many people have been asking me that you've written 6 volumes on Ramayana. When will we ever read it? I don't know whether we'll ever be able to read all the 6 volumes in our life. Why don't you just write one volume, So this is that one volume. So practically in one book, the entire Ramayana is there. And in this, Uttarakhand also is there, which is not in my series, basically. So this is like a one single volume which has everything. But more importantly, this particular book is very much steeped in devotion. So in the Ramayana series, you'll find a lot of practical lessons and all that. In this book, I have not given any practical lessons. In this book, I have focused on a devotional rendition of Ramayana. So a lot of people feel that Ramayana does not have bhakti in it. But as we recite this and as we understand this particular, rendition of Naam Ramayana, you'll realize Ramayana is actually steeped a lot into bhakti. So let us start. Shuddha Brahma Parat Pararam. So in this verse, it says, I take shelter of Sri Ram, the personification of pure Brahman, and the best of the best. So here, the mood of this particular verse is based on a very interesting story from the Ramayana. When Valmiki met his guru Narad Muni, Valmiki had a question to ask Narad Muni. So his question to Narad Muni was, who is that person who has all these 24 qualities in completeness? So Valmiki made a list of 24 qualities and he wanted to know who has all these 24 qualities in completeness. So obviously now Valmiki did not want someone who had one quality or two qualities or three qualities. He wanted someone who had all 24 qualities and that too in completeness. In this world, there are different types of people. And because of different qualities, they are very attractive. Somebody is very wealthy, somebody is very knowledgeable, somebody is very strong, somebody is very intelligent, somebody is very famous. So many qualities are there which could be making a person very attractive. But Valmiki wanted to know whether one person has all the qualities. Why is Valmiki saying only one person should have all the qualities? Because that's what a true hero is. We come across people in this world who are having one quality and the world celebrates them because of that. Many years back, I was in Rishikesh with His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj. And we were at the Birla house. And Maharaj was invited to have breakfast over there. And I was serving him, so I was there along. And at that point in Birla house, there was a very famous Bollywood actor staying. And he also joined us. Obviously, when we saw him, he's very impressive looking, very handsome looking man. Till he opened his mouth. So till he opened his mouth, we were like really impressed with him. The moment he opened his mouth, we realized, my God, this guy is completely... Some people should not speak. It's best if they don't speak. Otherwise, they reveal themselves, basically. So here was a person who was very handsome, but the moment he spoke, the kind of language was not really a cultured type of language. So in this world, there are people who have different abilities, but there is no one person who has all qualities in completeness. So Valmiki did not want to worship someone who has even one quality less. That was his condition. So we all worship heroes, we all adore heroes, we all are fascinated by different types of heroes, right? But Valmiki's point is, do not look for heroes who have even one shortcoming. So that's the kind of hero that we should look for and aspire for and be inspired by. So the moment Valmiki spoke this and he asked Narad Muni was so amazed by the question itself. And he closed his eyes and very intensely meditated on that one person who has all these qualities in completeness. And then he spoke the name Ram. And the interesting thing is that at that point in time, Narad Muni narrates to Valmiki how Ram has all these qualities in 100 verses. So when Narad Muni narrates these qualities to Valmiki in 100 verses, he actually is speaking something known as Sanchit Ramayana. He narrates the entire Ramayana in 100 verses. So technically, before Valmiki composed the Valmiki Ramayana, these 100 verses have the complete Ramayana. So a lot of people only recite these 100 verses, and you get the benefit of reciting the whole Ramayana. Of course, Valmiki expanded on what his teacher gave him, basically. Now we have two versions of, or rather 3 versions now. We have the 24,000 verses of Valmiki, we have the 100 verses of Narad Muni, and we have 108 verses of Lakshmanacharya. You have 3 Ramayans practically in your access. So here, the word Shuddha Brahma Parat Pararam, it refers to that Ram who is pure Brahman and who has who is the best of the best. So this is the meditation on this particular beautiful verse of the Ramayana. So we'll chant this one now. Shesha Talpa Sukha Nidrita Ram. So this verse, it refers to, it says, I take shelter in Sri Ram, who delightfully sleeps on the bed of Shesha, the celestial serpent. The word Shesha refers to Ananta Shesh. The word Shesha refers to the celestial snake which holds the whole earth, whole universe. But along with holding the whole universe, Shesha also holds the Supreme Lord on his body. So he's known as Sheshnag. So I'll explain this verse using 3 different aspects, or rather 3 different ways of looking at this verse. All of us sleep on different beds, isn't it? But is there anyone here who has slept for more than 5 days, 6 days continuously on a bed? Anybody here slept 5-6 days continuously? Whether you're sick or hospitalized or whatever. I'm sure all of us have some experience like that. Or we would have seen somebody who is sick prolonged for being in bed, isn't it? So usually when you sleep on a bed for a long period of time, you start getting a lot of backache, back sores. You get all these kind of, strange issues, isn't it? Have you ever wondered how Lord Vishnu sleeps on a snake bed forever and he doesn't have any back problem? This is the answer to that question. Because his bed is a very special type of bed. So we all have experienced different beds, isn't it? Some beds are very cheap, some beds can go in huge amount of money. But the Lord's bed is a very unique bed. Because this bed has a very interesting property. The property of this bed is that it's a living bed. Because it is a living bed, it breathes. And when the Lord is lying on Sheshnag, Sheshnag is breathing over there. In, breathing out, breathing in, breathing out, breathing in. And he creates a gap between the Lord's back and the bed. When he breathes in, it shrinks. And when he breathes out, it expands, right? So that gap, it leads to a lot of air circulation in between. And because of that air circulation in between, the Lord is always aerated and his back is taken care. It's a very cozy feeling for the Lord. But more than that, this bed has another very interesting feature, which is very, very useful. When small children are put to sleep, mothers sometimes blow air in their eyes. So when you blow air into the eyes of the child, The child feels very nice. His eyes flutter and then he goes to sleep. So here, Ananta Shesh, he's blowing into the eyes of Lord Vishnu when Vishnu is sleeping. He has 1,000 heads, and with his 1,000 heads, he's blowing into the eyes of Lord Vishnu. And he is giving him a very beautiful experience of good sleep. And therefore, if you look at here, Shesha Talpa Sukha Nidritaram. So he is having very peaceful and very joyful sleep, sponsored by Shesha and his snake bed. One time, when Lord Ram was with Lakshman and Hanumanji, now Lakshman is not different from Shesha, right? He is Ananta Shesh, Adi Shesh. So Lord Ram wanted to just test Lakshman and Hanumanji. So Ram just told both of them, in front of both of them basically, he looked at Hanuman and he told him that I love you twice as much as Lakshman. He tells Hanuman, I love you twice as much as Lakshman. And then he looks at Lakshman and he asks him, did you feel bad about it? I told that I love Hanuman twice as much as Lakshman. Now obviously in this world there is a lot of envy, right? So if the boss favors one person and does not favor another person, they feel insecure and so many issues can happen. So here Ram is telling in front of Lakshman only, and he's asking Lakshman also, are you feeling bad? Lakshman looks at Lord Ram and he says, my dear Lord, whatever you said is perfect. So Ram is asking, what do you mean? He said, I served you and Sita for 25 years. But after serving you both for 25 years, Sita still doubted my character. I could not win her heart. I could not win her trust. After 25 years of seva, Hanumanji would not have even served her or been with her for 25 minutes. But she trusted him completely. So he said, what I could not do in 25 years, Hanumanji did in 25 minutes. So therefore he is definitely twice better than me. And then Lakshman gave another reason. Lakshman said, I as Ananta Shesh, I lift you and keep you on my lap. Like in the form of this snake bed. So I carry you in my lap as Ananta Shesh. But Hanuman is so great that he carries both you and me. So he's twice better than me. So Ram was amazed with Lakshman's logic. Then he looked at Hanuman and he asked Hanuman, what do you feel about what I said? And Hanuman, he completely changed the whole, perspective. And this is what great devotees are. Great devotees know the art of shifting attention to other devotees. Shifting the appreciation to other devotees. So immediately, Hanumanji said, my dear Lord, what you said actually glorifies Lakshman more. So he said, what do you mean by that? I said, I love you twice as much as Lakshman. How you are saying that it glorifies Lakshman more? Hanumanji tells the Lord, my dear Lord, usually when you tell someone I love you, what do you say? I love you more than my life. That's like the usual way, right? What you are saying, instead of saying I love you more than my life, you are saying I love you more than Lakshman. Which means Lakshman is your life. So I am different from you and Lakshman is part of you. So therefore you love Lakshman more than me. So Ram was really amazed with this logic. So this whole mood of serving the Lord and this whole mood of trying to be an assistant to the Lord is what we can learn from this verse. The word Shesha means a part. Shesha means remnants or leftover. In this world, being an assistant is not easy, isn't it? Everybody wants to be the boss. Nobody wants to be a follower. Nobody wants to be an assistant. Everybody wants to be an influencer today, you know. So if everybody is influencer, then who's going to get influenced? You know? The word Shesha here represents those set of devotees who are happy being followers and who are wanting to give pleasure to Ram. And when Ram is in the association of such devotees, he feels very peaceful. So essentially what this means is that we should all aspire to become devotees who are non-competing with one another. But rather, we should try to become devotees who are serving one another, who are in the mood of seva, who are in the mood of assisting one another, rather than trying to have a one-upmanship. And that's the mood that pleases the Lord. And in such an association, Ram can actually feel peaceful and he actually goes to sleep. So here is a very beautiful verse. We'll chant this. Kaushalya Sukha Vardhana Ram. To help you understand this verse, I'm going to give you a little context, a story that is connected to this verse. When Vishwamitra Muni comes to Ayodhya and he meets Dasharath Maharaj, and he tells Dasharath Maharaj that I'm performing a sacrifice which is for the welfare of the world, and I need your son Ram to come and help me perform this sacrifice. Dasharath Maharaj, he initially does not agree, but after a lot of persuasion and discussion, Dasharath Maharaj lets go. So Ram and Lakshman go along with Vishwamitra Muni. And when Ram and Lakshman go along with Vishwamitra Muni, they come to a section of the forest where they are practically reaching the fag end of the day. So Vishwamitra Muni realizes that it is time for them to sleep. So Vishwamitra Muni arranges a bed for Ram and Lakshman to lie down on. Of course, this bed is nothing like Shesha. This bed is a bed of leaves and flowers. So when Ram and Lakshman are lying on this bed, Ram and Lakshman are not at all in a demanding mood. They are in a very flexible mood. Now obviously these are royal princes, 12-year-old youngsters, right? Now today's teenagers, if you ask them, go with somebody, some stranger, they ask so many questions. Why me? Did you ask me before agreeing, you know? Dasharath Maharaj didn't ask Ram and all. He just told Vishwamitra Muni, take Ram. Ram didn't say which hotel you have booked. How many stars, 5-star, 4-star, you know. Ram just surrendered, went to Vishwamitra Muni and he gave him a bed to lie on, which is the floor essentially. And Ram and Lakshmana are lying on the floor. Vishwamitra Muni, he feels bad that Ram and Lakshmana are lying on the floor. And he feels that they are suffering so much. I need to do something to relieve them of their pain and suffering. So Vishwamitra says, the only way I can relieve them of their pain and suffering is by telling them stories. Vishwamitra Muni begins to tell stories to Ram and Lakshman. Now just to give you the background, Vishwamitra never in his entire life has told stories to anybody. He is not a storyteller. In fact, he has never done anything for anybody. He has been in his own world. See, there is a big difference between being a sage and being a, devotee. Sages live a very hardened life. They live a life of austerity. The life of devotion is a life of softness. But being a sage is a life of austerity. So there's a lot of intense tapasya in being a sage. And Vishwamitra Muni, all his life, he has done tapasya only. And the interesting thing about Vishwamitra Muni's tapasya is that he has been doing it alone in the forest. But here, first time, there are 2 kids with him. And he doesn't know how to deal with them. So he's trying his best. So he tells them stories, they go to sleep. And the next day, early morning, Vishwamitra Muni gets up before Brahma Muhurta, goes and does his tapasya and comes back. and he sees still Ram and Lakshmana sleeping. So Vishwamitra Muni now wants to wake up Ram and Lakshman. For the first time in his life, he is seeing the face of sleeping Ram. If you see the face of somebody who has just woken up from sleep, it is a very ghastly experience. We are not exactly the most beautiful to look at as soon as we get up in the morning, We have to immediately wash our face to look something decent. But when Vishwamitra Muni saw the beautiful face of Ram first thing in the morning, he was just so amazed. He had never seen anything as beautiful as this. He was just so amazed that spontaneously he remembered Mother Kaushalya, who on a daily basis gets to see the sleeping beauty of Ram. Every day in the morning, Kaushalya gets to see Ram who's sleeping, and she gets to wake up Ram. So Vishwamitra Muni suddenly starts remembering Mother Kaushalya. And from his mouth comes out this very famous verse, Kaushalya Supraja Rama Purva Sandhya Pravartate Uttishta Narashartula Kartavyam Devamanikam. At that point, Vishwamitra Muni narrates this verse, chants this verse. The Acharyas explained that actually he chants the verse Kaushalya. So after that Kaushalya Supraja Rama he doesn't chant. Just the word Kaushalya he chants for 1 hour. He's just so stunned thinking about the greatness of Mother Kaushalya that she's seeing this form of Ram all the time. And he's so stunned, appreciating the greatness of Mother Kaushalya. Now for Vishwamitra Muni, this is a massive change. Because when you live a life of austerity, you're only appreciating yourself. If you see a very austere people, they talk a lot about themselves. I did this fasting, I did that fasting, I did this austerity. So it's a lot about oneself, basically. But the difference between the life of austerity and the life of devotion is, in the life of devotion, we're trained to see the good qualities in other people. So here, Vishwamitra Muni is making a massive shift in his life from looking at himself to appreciating Mother Kaushalya. And this is a very important transformation of Vishwamitra Muni's journey of devotion. So the Balakand of the Ramayana is called Balakand for a very special reason. Actually, if you study the Valmiki Ramayana, it has 24,000 verses. But out of the 24,000 verses in the Valmiki Ramayana, practically only 10 verses talk about the childhood of Ram. Now, out of 24,000, what is 10? Nothing, isn't it? So why is an entire Kand called Balakand? If it is only talking about 10, so Balakand itself probably has about 4 or 5,000 verses. But in 4 or 5,000 verses, only 10 verses refers to Bala Leela of Lord Ram. Can an entire Kand be called Balakand because of that 10 verses? Therefore, the Acharyas explained, Bal and the Balakand is not Ram. Bal and the Balakand is Vishwamitra Muni. This is his childhood in devotion. And by the end of the Balakand, when he marries Ram and Sita, then he becomes a mature adult in devotion. So that right now, this is the starting of the Balakand. He is a bacha. He is a kid in devotion. And the first steps of being a child in the path of devotion is that you begin to appreciate goodness in other devotees. That's the first steps in being a good devotee. One time, a person went to Vedanta Desikar. So Vedanta Desikar is a very exalted Sri Vaishnava saint who lived in Kanchipuram, was born in Kanchipuram. And this devotee went to Vedanta Desikar and he asked him, what is the best time to have darshan of Varadaraj? Can you please suggest, what is the best time to go and have darshan of the Lord? Vedanta Desikar said, go early morning, just when the Lord has woken up. And this devotee asked, why? He said, something special happens at that time. And then he gave a very deep insight into what happens, in the altar at that time. He said, Varadaraj, if you, I don't know how many of you have gone to Kanchipuram. Anybody here gone to Kanchipuram? If you want to, okay. So Varadaraj temple is one of the most famous temples of Kanchipuram. And there if you see Varadaraj is standing on the altar and he's standing alone. And there's another altar of the goddess, Perindevi Tayar, her name is Lakshmi Devi. She's in another altar. So when the temple closes in the night, after everybody goes to sleep, the temple is shut. The Lord from his altar goes to Lakshmi Devi's altar and goes to sleep with her. And when the Lord Varadaraj goes to Lakshmi Devi's altar and sleeps along with her, Lakshmi Devi puts her hand as a pillow for the Lord. And the Lord is resting on Lakshmi Devi's hand all night. And next day, when Mangalarti time comes, the Lord gets up and runs and comes back to his altar. So Vedanta Desikar says, at that time, if you go to the altar of Varadaraj and have darshan of Varadaraj, Varadaraj is in a very embarrassed situation. Why? Because the marks of bangles of Lakshmi Devi are on his neck. And he's feeling very embarrassed that nobody should look at those marks, So, if anybody comes at that time and has darshan of Varadaraj, Varadaraj will say, whatever you want, you ask, but don't go and tell anyone this, what you saw, So Vedanta Desikar is giving this devotee a very interesting insight on how you can get anything from the Lord if you go at that point, because the Lord is in a little embarrassment, basically. So the Mangalarti is a very special time when the Lord just wakes up. Now obviously, during Shringar Darshan and all, the Lord is a king, right? So if you go to the court of a king, you have to go by protocols, you have to go by lot of rules and regulations and all that, appointment and all. But imagine if you are allowed to enter into the bedroom of the king. What does that mean? I mean, who can enter the bedroom of the king, first of all? Very few people, isn't it? Only the family members can enter, literally. So, going for Mangalarti, it's technically like entering the bedroom of the Lord. So, if you are getting to enter into the bedroom of the Lord, it simply means that you are a family member. You are very special to the Lord. And in that, there is a very different rasa that happens. So here, Kaushalya Sukha Vardhana Ram. So seeing this beauty of Lord Ram, it enhances the pleasure of Mother Kaushalya. We'll chant this verse. घोर ताटका घातक राम. So here, the word ghora refers to someone who is ghastly. And Tataka obviously refers to this demoness named Tataka. So, the story behind this is very interesting. And it also brings on a very interesting meditation. So, when Ram, Lakshman and Vishwamitra Muni were traveling across the various places to reach Siddhashram, before they reach Siddhashram, they come across a forest which is very, very ghastly, ghora. And the forest was such that there were no trees that had leaves. There had no trees that had flowers or fruits. Completely bare. Almost like fall of Seattle, Completely bare. Nothing on the trees. And no animals in the forest. No birds in the forest. No water in the forest. And a scorching heat. So Ram immediately asked Vishwamitra Muni, what is this? Why is this forest so bare and so intense? And Vishwamitra Muni explained the story behind that forest. Originally, this forest was a very, very, very luscious and filled with so many fruit-bearing trees, etc. Till one incident happened. There was a point in time where Tataka's husband, his name was Sunda. This demon, he loved to go and trouble other people. Just go and trouble them. That's probably the definition of a demon, Somebody who goes and unnecessarily interferes in other people's lives. So he, unfortunately one day, he went and did that with Agastya Rishi. And because he did that with Agastya Rishi got angry and he cursed him, reduced him to ashes. And Tataka, when she heard that her husband is killed by Agastya, she came running to destroy Agastya along with her two sons, Marich and Subahu. When she came running like that to destroy Agastya Rishi cursed all three of them that you will become ghastly, huge demons roaming around hungrily. And all the three of them became like that. Obviously, they couldn't do anything to Agastya Rishi. They removed all their anger on the forest. They destroyed everything in the forest and they completely took over the forest. So Ram was told this story by Vishwamitra Muni, and Vishwamitra Muni tells Ram that you have to eliminate her. So Ram, he takes his bow and he twangs his bow. He does not put an arrow. He just releases this bow strings, and the sound of the reverberation of the bow is so intense that practically the entire forest shakes in that sound. And Tataka was on the other side of the forest. She gets to know. She gets up and runs towards where the sound is coming because she realizes there's an intruder into her forest. And as Tataka comes running, she sees these three human beings, Vishwamitra Muni, Ram and Lakshman. And Ram sees Tataka over there. Vishwamitra Muni tells Ram, shoot her and kill her. Ram starts thinking, should I kill her or not? This is the first demon that Ram is technically killing in his life. First murder. And Ram is thinking, first person I'm going to kill in my life is a woman. Should I kill or should I not kill? Krishna does not think so much. He just kills directly. Yeah? Putana came, he directly killed her. He didn't think so much. But Ram, he thinks a lot. Why? Because Ram is supposed to be Maryada Purushottam. He is supposed to be showing us what an ideal human being is. And here is a guru giving an instruction. Vishwamitra Muni is a guru of Ram. He is giving him an instruction. And yet Ram is thinking, should I kill or should I not kill? Which means Ram is teaching us instructions of the guru have to be processed with your own intelligence, weighed according to the Shastrik Praman, and understood according to what the great sadhus would want you to do. And then you act. So Vishwamitra Muni, when he saw Ram thinking so much, he realized why he is thinking. And Vishwamitra Muni started giving so many citations from the scriptures of how women in the past have been killed. He gives a story of how Lord Vishnu killed a woman named Khyati, who was a wife of Bhrigu. And then he gives an example of how Indra kills a woman named Kumati because she was siding the demons. So after thinking like this and hearing these examples, then Ram thinks, okay, fine, I'll kill. And then when Ram shoots the arrows, first he shoots the two hands of Tataka. He still doesn't want to kill her completely. He's still thinking, maybe there's another way to deal with her, And then she disappears when her arms are cut off. And from hiding, she throws stones. And it is becoming dark. The night is coming. Vishwamitra Muni tells Ram, please don't waste your time showing compassion to the wrong person. She is not a woman. And Vishwamitra Muni gives a definition of who is a woman. And he talks about how primary quality of someone being a woman is compassion. So if compassion and motherly love is not there, the person is not a woman only. So when Vishwamitra Muni tells all of this, then finally Ram shoots an arrow and destroys Tataka. Gora Tataka, Ghataka Ram. This Ram refers to Ram who is very discerning, who thinks 100 times. So this is a thinking Ram. This is a Ram that is teaching us how when we make decisions in our life, we have to consider consequences and we have to weigh our decisions based on the tripod of Guru, Sadhu, Shastra's instructions. And then we can take decisions in our lives. So we'll chant this verse. Kaushika samrakshakaram. So Kaushika is another name of Vishwamitra Muni. So this verse, it refers to a very beautiful episode, but it also refers to a very beautiful meditation and quality of Lord Ram. So Vishwamitra Muni has brought Ram to Siddhashram. Now Siddhashram is not an ordinary place. It is explained that Siddhashram does not exist in 3 dimensions. It exists in the 4th dimension. That means ordinary eyes cannot even see Siddhashram. That is the way it is. So when Vishwamitra Muni along with Ram and Lakshman reach Siddhashram, when they reach this beautiful hermitage, Vishwamitra Muni tells Ram something very interesting. He tells Ram, my dear Ram, this place belongs to you as much as it belongs to me. Why does Vishwamitra Muni say like that? That this place belongs to you as much as it belongs to me. Because originally in this place, Siddhashram, right now Vishwamitra Muni is staying there with his disciples. But originally, Siddhashram was inhabited by Vamanadev. Vamanadev lived over there. So technically, who is the owner and who is the tenant? You know? So originally Vamanadev stayed there. Now Vishwamitra Muni is staying there. Now Ram has come here. So Vishwamitra Muni is telling Ram, my dear Ram, this ashram belongs to as much to you as it belongs to me. Which means that right now I am a caretaker. But you are the permanent owner. It gives us a principle of thinking of everything that belongs to, that is given to us as something that is under our care for the service of the Lord. So Vishwamitra Muni tells Ram about the situation in which he was. He says that he is performing a great yajna over there. The word Vishwamitra means, Vishwa means world and Mitra means friend of the world. So Vishwamitra is a friend of the whole world. And because he is a friend of the whole world, he is performing a yajna over here. And this yajna is for the welfare of the whole world. When Vishwamitra Muni tells Dasharath Maharaj that I want Ram to help me protect this yajna, Dasharath Maharaj thinks Vishwamitra actually, his name really suits him. He is Vishwa Amitra. He is the enemy of the world. Because he is taking his son, right? So this is a different perspective of seeing the same name. So Vishwamitra Muni tells Ram that when I do this tapasya, this yajna, it's a 7-day long yajna. And for me to complete this yajna, I need to take 2 vows. First is a vow of complete silence. I cannot speak anything for 7 days till the yajna is over. And he has to take a second vow of abstinence from anger. The moment Vishwamitra Muni takes these 2 vows and begins the yajna, there are these 2 demons, Marich and Subha, who come and attack the yajna. Now Vishwamitra Muni has all the counter. He can easily curse them, he can easily destroy them, he can do whatever he wants. But unfortunately, he has taken a vow. He can't say anything and he can't get angry. You know, whenever you take vows, there will be somebody who will want to take advantage of those vows. You know, there will be always somebody who will want to trouble you, who will want to irritate you. You know, just when you decide, I don't want to drink tea and coffee, somebody will come and start poking you. What is there? What is there behind drinking tea and coffee? It is medicine. And so many logic they'll start coming and giving you to trouble you. So Vishwamitra Muni realized that this yajna I have to complete. I cannot do anything about it, so I need help from outside. So he goes and gets Ram and Lakshman along with him. Vishwamitra Muni starts the yajna and he tells Ram Lakshman, I'm going to start this yajna and I want you both to protect this yajna against these demons. Be careful. Anytime, anything can happen. So be alert. Vishwamitra Muni tells like this to Ram Lakshman and he starts the yajna. Vishwamitra's yajna continues for 6 days without a single break. And Ram and Lakshman are protecting the yajna. The Acharyas give a very beautiful analogy. They say, just like the eyelids are protecting the eyeball, similarly, Ram and Lakshman are protecting the yajna Vishwamitra Muni. So, if you see there are two eyelids we have, and these two eyelids together protect the eyeball, which is inside, right? Similarly, Ram and Lakshman are protecting the yajna Vishwamitra Muni like eyelids. Lakshman was a lower eyelid, Ram was the upper eyelid. Just like the lower eyelid is stationary in one place, Lakshman was stationary in one place. Just like the upper eyelid goes up and down, similarly Ram was going all around and coming back. He's going all around and touching the lower eyelid and coming back. So that is the way in which Ram and Lakshman are protecting the yajna. 6 days passed, no one came. 7th day, the yajna was almost getting completed. And Vishwamitra Muni and all the sages were offering the last oblations into the yajna. And just as Vishwamitra Muni and other sages were offering the last oblations into the yajna, Ram and Lakshman were thinking, what is this? Nothing happened only. Unnecessarily they got us from all the way, So far we came over here to protect this yajna, nothing happened at all, Just when they were thinking like that, and the yajna was just about to get over, at that time they heard this huge sound of Rakshasas, an army of Rakshasas coming to attack. When you are closest to success, that's when you become complacent. You take things for granted. When you're closest to success, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, we have the story of Bharat Maharaj on the stage of Bhava. And at that point, he became a little complacent. And he literally came back all the way. So here Rama and Lakshmana, just 1 inch close to success. And they were thinking, what is this? And suddenly, these demons come. And immediately Rama and Lakshmana become alert. And these demons, they start throwing all kinds of obnoxious things into the yajna fire. And as soon as Ram and Lakshman see that these demons are throwing all kinds of obnoxious things, meat and flesh and blood, into the fire, immediately Ram makes a canopy of arrows above the yajna kund. And this canopy of arrows is such that it becomes almost like an umbrella. And not a drop of blood falls into the yajna kund. These demons are going crazy. They are so angry and so upset that they are not able to throw anything into the yajna kund. At that point in time, the demons, they decide that if they are not able to throw anything into the yajna kund, they will come down to the earth, on the ground, and attack. So when these demons descend on the ground, the sages are chanting mantras. And the mantras are so powerful that these negative forces are not able to come to the ground also. Now these demons were really getting irritated. They realized that these sages are chanting mantras because of which we are not able to come to the ground. So they said, we also should chant some mantras to counter it. And they started chanting bad words, which is the mantra of the demons. Nowadays, it is very fashionable to speak bad words. In fact, every second word is a bad word for a lot of people. So these demons were chanting all kinds of bad words, abusive words, to try counteracting the mantras. But the power of the mantras was so much that they could not affect the negative energy. So the demons were becoming really disturbed. And at that point, Ram and Lakshman, they started attacking these demons and slowly destroyed all the demons. So now, I'm going to make a little analysis on what this whole thing about Kaushikamaka Samrakshaka Ram is. What does it really mean? And what actually happened in this pastime? The Yajna, the fire in the Yajna, represents the human mind. The ghee that is being poured into the fire and all the mantras that are being chanted, that represents the advice given by great good people. The sages they give good advice, right? So our mind is there. Sages are giving good advice to us. But at the same time, demons also throwing dirty things into the mind. Fortunately or unfortunately for us, both are happening simultaneously. You come to the temple, sages are throwing all nice things into your mind. You go outside to your office, There are demons who are throwing all dirty things into your mind. And you are wondering what is going on. So sometimes you hear good things, sometimes you hear bad things, and your mind is so confused because Yagyakund becomes impure because of the two different types of contamination, one good and one bad coming into your mind. And that's why Vishwamitra Muni realized the mind needs to be protected by the intelligence. And therefore Vishwamitra Muni called Ram and Lakshman, who represents the human intelligence. So just like Ram and Lakshman were very careful that no bad elements enter into the fire, nothing contaminated enters into the fire. Similarly, Ram and Lakshman similarly, all of us must ensure with the help of intelligence that nothing negative enters into the mind. So while we are trying to fill up our minds with all the mantras and all the advices of the sages, we also should be very alert that the mind doesn't get contaminated by negative energy that the demons are bringing in. So here, Kaushika Makha Samrakshaka Ram refers to that Ram who will protect your mind from negative energy. So when we chant this particular verse, we are supposed to be meditating on that aspect of Ram who is waiting to protect us from all the negative contaminating things that the demons are pouring into our minds. So I'll chant one more verse and then we will stop for today. Shrimad Ahalyo Dharakaram. So this verse refers to a very interesting and a very powerful story. But I'm not going to get into the whole story. I mean, obviously we all know the story. But I am going to look at a very small aspect of the story, which is what I would want to focus on. So here, when Ahalya got cursed by Gautam Rishi to become a stone, one of the reasons Gautam Rishi cursed Ahalya to become a stone was because she made her choices and her choices were insensitive. She knew that this person who came was not, Gautam Rishi, it was Indra. But she still chose Indra. So he cursed her to become a stone. Now, as a stone, what happens? The interesting thing about stones is that nobody pays attention to a stone. Have you paid special attention to any stone? You're walking on the pathway and you see one stone over there. Do you go and meditate on the stone? Oh, what a beautiful stone it is. Do you think about a stone? Nobody pays attention to a stone. So the solution for those who are attention seeking is become a stone. That's Gautam Rishi's way of looking at it. So he says, the more attention you get, the more hungry you become for attention. And the less attention you get, you will overcome the greed for attention. So Gautam Rishi, out of his compassion for Ahalya, cursed her to become a stone. And as a stone, nobody is paying attention to her. She got enough time to meditate. The problem when too many people pay attention to us, we cannot absorb ourselves in something higher. There are times where you need to go aloof from people and you need to just be with yourself. Just be with yourself and allow yourself to meditate. Allow yourself to absorb and allow yourself time to process what is going on in your life. Ahalya got a lot of time to think. Literally hundreds of years she got to think and meditate. And in her entire meditation, she was thinking that I, with my own intelligence and own power, I tried to do what is right and what is wrong, but I failed. So Ahalya, she decides that whenever she gets redemption, she will take shelter of Lord Ram. So then eventually Ram comes and he puts his feet and Ahalya resurrects. She comes back to life. And the moment Ahalya comes back to life, she offers a prayer to Lord Ram. And that's the prayer that we can all offer here at this point in time. The prayer that Ahalya offers to Lord Ram is that she tells Lord Ram, my dear Lord, I don't have confidence in my intelligence. I don't have confidence in my intelligence. I need your strength. I need your empowerment. I need your shelter. So Ahalya takes shelter of Lord Ram and is explained, at that point in time, Shrimad Ahalyo Dharakaram. So she was a stone and she suddenly gets a human form of life, back to her normal human form, right? So this is a new birth for Ahalya. Because it is a new birth for Ahalya now, technically Ram has become her father. Because Ram has given birth to Ahalya. So from this point onwards, Ahalya feels really confident because she realizes that now I have the shelter of my father who is going to protect me, who is going to guide me, and who is going to give me the strength that I need to say no. We all need to say no in our lives, right? For many things. For those who are preachers, you have to say no to programs. Very big thing. Big task, How to say no for seva, But we have to learn to say no, For those who are, working in the outside world where you're dealing with so much of negative energy, you have to say no for so many things. Office parties, and they're going to give you all kinds of strange things to eat and drink. And even you go there also, you have to keep saying no to so many things. Half the things you have to say no only practically, In our own lives, the choices that we make and the kind of decisions that we make, there are so many things that we have to keep saying no to. And to say no, it takes a lot of strength. And especially to say no to powerful things really takes a lot of strength. So this Ram, Shrimad Ahalyo Dharaka Ram, it refers to that Ram that gives you the strength to say no. That gives you the strength to deal with temptations in life. So Ahalya, obviously, she represents, if you look at the word over here, Shrimad Ahalyo Dharaka Ram. The word Shrimad is used before Ahalya. Why? Now somebody might say, what is this? She's done such a big mistake, but why is she being called Shrimad Ahalya Dharaka Ram? And it's amazing. In the Valmiki Ramayana, if you see, Ravan kicked Vibhishan. Ravan kicked Vibhishan on his chest. And Vibhishan was thrown out from Lanka. So now when Vibhishan was thrown out from Lanka, he technically became a beggar. He couldn't even take his credit cards, all blocked, Suddenly pink slip, no access to any of his data, Completely blocked out. Access card entry gone, He couldn't even take his family along with him. He couldn't take his money along with him. He couldn't take anything with him. He just had to straight away walk out of Lanka with nothing. And the moment when he was walking out of Lanka, Valmiki calls Vibhishan as Shriman. What is this? Till now he had everything. Till now he should have been called Shriman. Now when he became a beggar, he cannot be called Shriman, right? Shriman means somebody who is very aristocratic. Somebody who has the blessings of Shri. Somebody who has wealth. And why is Valmiki calling Vibhishan Shriman when he is being kicked out of the kingdom? The reason is because today he has got real wealth. What is the real wealth? The lotus feet of the Lord. That's the real wealth. So here, Ahalya, she's called Shrimad Ahalyo Dharaka Ram because she has got now access to something really wealthy. The dust of the lotus feet of Lord Ram has fallen on her head. What could be more opulent than that? What could be greater wealth than that? And Ahalya has access to such a great wealth. And therefore she's called as Shrimad Ahalya Dharaka Ram. So we can meditate on these beautiful qualities that we can see from this verse. So Naam Ramayana continues like this. It goes on and on. It's pure bliss. I mean, I've written many books many books that I've written for me personally. I derived great pleasure in writing this book because it almost became like a very deep meditation for me, meditating on these different qualities of Lord Ram. And I realized that the Naam of Ram, so every verse is one name of Ram, right? So the Nama is leading us to Rupa, meditating on the form of the Lord, the beauty of the Lord, and from that we are getting access to a Leela, to a particular pastime of the Lord, and from that we're getting access to one of the qualities of Lord Ram. So and that's the way in which the entire Nam Ramayana is. So what I'm giving you all is like a little trailer onto what Nam Ramayana is really about. So the next two sessions, which we're going to take tomorrow, we're going to take one session, and on 16th we're going to take the last session. In these two sessions, I'm going to be exploring other kands of Ramayana. So today we did a little bit of the Bal Kand of the Ramayana. So the next two sessions we'll explore few verses from the other kands of the Ramayana, and I'll just give you all a little sample of what really power of this Nam Ramayana is. And I personally find it a great meditation to meditate on the beautiful names of Lord Ram. And hopefully all of you also found this a very meditative and a beautiful experience. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Is there any quick questions or comments? Getting good. Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhu, for the wonderful lecture. Prabhu, earlier in last verse, you mentioned that the yajna is like our mind, and then the chanting is the good things coming up advice, and then the demons are the negative coming up. And Rama and Lakshmana are the intelligence which decide this thing. But in our current stage, our intelligence itself is polluted. For to make that differentiation what is good and bad, that will happen what you say when the intelligence is purified. But right now when intelligence itself is polluted, we are not able to make that distinction.
Okay. So just for the benefit of those who are online, the question is, what happens if our intelligence itself is polluted? How do we deal with it? And the intelligence doesn't have the ability to discriminate. If we have a polluted intelligence, that is a time to borrow intelligence. So you take guidance from those who are intelligent, those whose intelligence is purified. And with their guidance, when you take decisions, then those decisions are also considered to be good decisions. So when our intelligence, till our intelligence gets purified, we don't use our intelligence too much. We park it. And for important, crucial decisions of life, we take guidance from devotees whose intelligence is pure. Okay? And by taking that guidance, over a period of time, our intelligence will get purified also. Anyone else? Hare Krishna, Amrendra Prabhu, very happy and grateful to see you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Hare.
It was certainly my honor and privilege to see you and listen to this brilliant presentation on Nama Ramayanam. Actually, I remember in my childhood, in my school, we had Nama Ramayanam.
Oh, wow.
And I remember the teacher teaching Ashuddha Brahma Parat Pararam. And when they would sing these, especially Kaushalya Sukhavardhaka Ram, the melody was very South Indian.
Correct.
You know, they
Yes.
sang it very sweetly. Of course, I murmured all those lines and verses without any understanding of the meaning. So today when you were teaching, it was not just revealing, it was not just taking me back to my memory lane of school days and gratitude to how the teachers put in effort culturally to instill that in me, but also broadened my understanding of the beautiful, wonderful qualities of Ram. I personally liked each one of the names that you established and explained, from Shuddha Brahma Paratpara Ram, Sheshatalpa Sukha Nidrita Ram. I loved all the parallels, I loved all the lessons, and concluding with Ahalya's story of trying to become like a stone in life, so that, and taking our space to away from all the attention, away from all the expectation, to in seclusion remember and meditate on the lotus feet of Sri Ram. I think it was brilliant presentation, and I am eager to receive and read the book.
Thank you very much for being here. It's such an honor and pleasure to have you here. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So we'll end here and we'll continue tomorrow a few more nectarian verses of Naam Ramayana. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki, Samaved Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki.
So we'll tomorrow 7:45 same time. We'll continue. Thank you.
We need to log off from Zoom. Yeah.